Hi guys, I'm Tia, and I'll be taking you through a Dance for Camera creative task by James Cousins' company for GCSE and BTEC students. The purpose of this task is to explore different camera shots and how they affect the viewer's experience. In order to do this task, you're going to need some movement material. About 1 or 2 weights will be enough. You could use something that you've learnt previously. Feel free to use something from one of our rep videos, or you could create something new for this task now. Make sure that you know it really well so that you can perform it confidently the same each time. Firstly, we're going to need to choose a location. Make sure that the location you choose gives you the possibility to be as far away from the camera as possible, as well as being really close to the camera. Some examples of this could be in a garden, in a corridor, on a path in the park, and so on. It's important that you can at least get your whole body in the frame, but ideally you'll be able to be even further away so that you can get a lot more detail in the location around you. When choosing your location, make sure that it is as appropriate as possible for you to actually dance in. It's really important that you don't injure yourself, so check the floor for any sharp objects or uneven grounding, anything else that could be a hazard. For my demo, I'll just be wearing my company t-shirt and some comfortable trackies, but for you, you might want to think about the type of clothing you're wearing and why. So think about how it informs the viewer, and also think about how it relates to the space that you're in. And now for the camera setup. So if you have a fancy camera and a tripod, go ahead and use that, that's great. If you don't, that's totally fine, as long as you've got something that you can film on, like a phone for example, and a little bit of DIY, you'll be able to figure something out for sure. For example, I managed to use my water bottle and I attached my phone to the top of it using a lackey band. The location that you choose might have a bench or something that you can balance your phone on. It might be wise to think about this before you head out, because you might need some other bits and pieces of materials. For this particular task, the aim is to set the camera up so that it's in one frame for the whole time, and then you are going to move in relation to the camera, either closer or further away, in order to get the type of shot that we're after. So in order to achieve this, it's really important that you can set your camera up in such a way that you can access the record button without having to move it around. And also make sure that the camera is set up really well, because obviously you don't want it to fall over and have a really lovely big crack in your phone screen. We all hate that. Before you start shooting, make sure you warm up properly, just as you would for any other performance. Now you're going to perform your phrase a few times. We'd recommend doing each of these as a separate shot, but you could also do one long take and then split it up later on. You might find it useful to discreetly mark out the space around you for each shot, just to ensure that while you're dancing around, you know how far you can go before you're out of frame. Alright, so the first shot we're going to get is an extreme wide shot. So this is when you perform your phrase as far away from the camera as you possibly can. So you've got space around you and you can see as much of the location in the frame as possible. The next shot we're going to get is a wide shot. So you're going to come a little bit closer to the camera so that your body fills the frame. For the third shot, we're going to get a mid shot, meaning that about half your body is in the frame. The next one is a close-up. So you're going to come as close to the camera as you possibly can, obviously without knocking it over. And you're going to perform your phrase exactly as you have been, once again in a close-up shot. If you have someone who can help you, you can ask them to be your camera person, This time they can hold the camera so they can get as close to you as they safely can and move around, focusing on really specific body parts as you dance. If you can have somebody to help you, that would really give you some exciting footage to be able to play with later in the editing phase and give you some more variety in the types of shots that you can achieve. Now that you've captured some good footage, you can look back on it and reflect on the following questions. What do you feel the difference is between the wide shots versus the close-up shots? Think about what they allow you to see and how they make you feel. How might you use these different types of shots to affect the viewer's experience? What is the difference in the experience you have when watching the static camera shots versus the moving camera shots? As you reflect on these questions, make sure you think about why this might be. Okay, now you're ready to edit your film. This is one of the most important parts of the process, but I promise it's a lot of fun. To edit, you'll either need to upload your footage onto a computer and use an editing software such as iMovie, or you could use an app on your phone such as InShot or VideoLeap. Film editing softwares are available in varying capacities. The ones that I have mentioned do allow you to use most of the features for free, so it's a really good place to start. The reason that I think this can be such a fun and exciting part of the process is because it really exposes how the same bit of material can make a completely different film, just based on how you manipulate it and edit it together. So you can really have some fun experimenting and having a play with the different things that you can do on these softwares. As you go through your edits, just make sure you think about why you're making those decisions, how it impacts the viewer's experience, and how it impacts the whole narrative of the journey of your film. Okay, some things to think about for the editing process. We want to create a journey with how we edit the footage, so you need to decide on that journey. For example, in Within Her Eyes, the dancers start really far away from the camera, and then they gradually come closer as the film progresses and the narrative unfolds. You could use this same journey, or you could think about reversing it, or maybe you do something completely different altogether. Whatever you decide to do, just make sure you have a think about why you're doing that and how it impacts the narrative. If you had someone help you with the film, think about how the footage with the camera in motion could create highlights or climaxes in your film. Also, think about where in the duration of your film these moments would have the most impact and why. Another important thing to consider is the length of each clip. So for example, in Within Her Eyes, the wide shots at the beginning are held for quite a long period of time, and then later on in the film, the close-ups are a lot shorter. Again, you could follow that same journey, you could try reversing it, or maybe you just want to try something different altogether. Whatever you decide to do, it's just really important you think about why you're doing that and how that is impacting the journey of your film. As you experiment with your footage, make sure you're always thinking about how the decisions you're making are going to impact the viewer's experience. So go ahead, have a lot of fun, experiment with lots of different options. Don't just settle for the first thing that you come up with. And you can head out, have some fun, but just be careful. Good luck making your film. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. I hope you've had some fun, just as I have. We would really love to see your creations, so make sure you tag us in any of your photos and videos that you share. You can find some more of this type of content and more tutorials on the James Cousins Company social media pages, and I'll see you on film. Bye!